Time. We know it to be inconsistent in how we perceive it, and yet we use its measure to give rhythm to our lives. It's ethereal, harder to grasp the more we think about it. It's as wibbly as it is wobbly, but we all know it to be somehow. Don't worry, I won't start asking what time is or try to provide an answer. I just wanted to take a look at how it's employed in video games. First, let's take a detour via cinema, an art form that has always heavily influenced video games. Editing cuts cinematographic time into small pockets which, when juxtaposed, give an illusion of uninterrupted contiguity. The ellipsis that usually occurs between two scenes is quite apparent, but time in a movie is in fact chopped into much smaller units. A scene, unless it's deliberately conceived as a single take, does not unfold in real time. Each shot is its own bubble, and the disparities between them, when actions skip or overlay, are skillfully erased by our brains. The perception of time is an illusion, its linearity a mere mental construct. Video games distort it in a different way, pushing it to be even more flexible. It is still an illusion, but one revolving around a design in which we unwittingly dictate how it flows. Here, time is player-centric. Apart from a few exceptions, events only progress in line with our actions. If you stop and smell the roses, which you might want to do if you've watched my video on contemplation, nothing of consequence will generally happen in the world around you. Please note, however, that this does not apply to most multiplayer games. Don't go dilly-dallying in the midst of a battle. Broadly speaking, there are two approaches to time in a combat game. Real time, where, as the name implies, time flows freely and uninterruptedly, or turn-based, where the rules of action are codified on a system of rounds and time is suspended until we make our move. You know all those games where characters adopt the ubiquitous stance, "I'm not doing anything, but I won't stop moving." You can think of a turn-based system as basically being like chess. Except that in chess, if the players are highly skilled or if it's lunch hour and they're peckish, they might give the impression of playing in real time. Similarly, the border between real-time and turn-based can be blurred by hybrid mechanics that use turn-based codification while never coming to an actual halt. Alternatively, real-time games can be made more strategic by allowing us to delay the action while we think and issue commands. Nowadays, it is not uncommon to come across this type of so-called active pause system, which calls upon a slowing effect instead of a genuine break, in order to maintain momentum and instill dynamism into a fight. In these cases, time is flexible and reactive to our actions. This player-centric quality of videoludic time can also be found in the way the course of events tends to follow the player. Every choice and action advances the plot, but between these moments of agency, the diegetic world lies in a state of temporal suspension. Nothing really happens. Sure, NPCs are walking around, providing a semblance of life, but the world is still waiting for us to effect any actual change. Narrative games with dialogue options go even further, introducing a pause where characters stare at each other in silence while the player chooses what to say. This would appear truly awkward if we weren't so focused on the dialogue itself.
Shepard, what can I do for you? Shepard? Kailash is zoning out again. Shepard, are you there?
Have you got time to talk?
Oh, so we're going to pretend nothing happened. Say something, Shepard. You're creeping me out.
As we've seen, time happens around the player in a very mutable manner. Some games use time itself as a mechanic, such as a day-night cycle that adds a touch of diversity to a world or reinforces narrative immersion. Once again, experience has shown that this device is better left to the player's control. When a game asks you to be in a specific place at an exact time, you end up having to arrive early and wait for the opportune moment. In the real world, this is a necessity. In a video game, it's nothing but a waste of time. However, when wielded properly, with sufficient player agency, this artificial circadian cycle can breathe life and change into a game's world. Time can even serve as a currency of sorts. It becomes a resource to manage when its scarcity is used by sadistic game designers. Don't they know many of us have a fear of missing out, coupled with analysis paralysis? In such a game you'll never witness everything, and you can't be everywhere. Choices must be made, and content missed out. On the other hand, time can be traded in other respects. It can be the countdown to an upcoming threat to give us a sense of urgency. It can be an investment with an associated temporal cost. It can also be the cooldown of an ability, or a stat we can boost. We've covered the ways time can be manipulated and distorted, but I'd like to add one more example of how inconspicuous this distortion can be. In a lot of fighting and action games, there's an effect that freezes the animations for a few frames, essentially stopping time for a fraction of a second. This technique, called hit stop, is subtle enough to go almost unnoticed, but it is nonetheless apparent in the way it can amplify the perceived impact. As you can see, the impact stands out significantly more in the motion of the action. Just like cinematographic time, hit stop shows us how our brains tend to ignore inconsistencies in the linear flow of our expectations. Time, like much of what our senses perceive, is not an invariable objective phenomenon. It ebbs and flows, shortens or lengthens, skips or lingers on. Like movies before them, video games have fully embraced this inconsistency and made it a tool, an instrument in the service of this medium that relies predominantly upon the audience's engagement. It's now unequivocally an art form, and, if I may say so,
it's about time.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment or share the video.